Stop doing this. Seriously, it's the number one mistake that's quietly destroying your tomato harvest. You might be watering, feeding, pruning, and doing everything you think is right. But if you're guilty of this one habit, you're probably cutting your yields in half without even realizing it. I see it all the time. Beautiful, healthy young tomato plants that suddenly start to yellow, wilt, or drop their blossoms for no apparent reason. The fruit stops developing, or worse, starts cracking and rotting on the vine. And the gardener is left wondering, what went wrong? Well, today we're going to find out. In this video, I'll reveal the single biggest mistake that kills more tomato plants than any pest, disease, or nutrient problem combined. We'll look at why it happens, how to spot the early warning signs, and what you can do right now to fix it before your harvest is ruined. Whether you grow in raised beds, containers, or a backyard greenhouse, this tip will completely change the way you grow tomatoes. Stick with me to the end, because I'll share a simple 3-step watering strategy that guarantees stronger plants, bigger fruit, and a harvest you'll be proud of.
So what's the number one mistake that quietly kills tomato harvests every single year? It's overwatering. I know, it sounds simple, right? Most gardeners believe that if a little water is good, more must be even better. But that's actually one of the fastest ways to suffocate your plants and destroy your crop. Here's what happens. When you water too often, the soil around your tomato roots stays constantly wet, and that means your roots never get the oxygen they need to breathe. Imagine trying to live with your head underwater. That's what your tomato roots are feeling when they're soaked all the time. Over time, the roots stop developing properly. Instead of growing deep and strong, they stay near the surface, where the water is. Shallow roots can't absorb enough nutrients or support the plant during heat or drought. And when a summer storm hits or the sun gets intense, those plants struggle. They wilt faster, and the fruit quality drops dramatically. But that's not the only problem. Constant moisture also creates the perfect environment for fungal diseases like root rot and blight. You'll start seeing yellow leaves near the bottom, black or brown spots creeping upward, and sometimes a foul smell from the soil. That's the plant literally rotting from the roots up. Another hidden sign of overwatering is when your tomatoes start cracking, those deep splits across the fruit's skin. It happens because the plant absorbs too much water at once, causing the fruit to swell faster than the skin can stretch. It's heartbreaking to see a perfect tomato split open right before harvest, but it's all connected to poor watering habits. And here's the tricky part. Overwatered plants often look thirsty. Their leaves droop just like they would if the soil were dry. So many gardeners see that and think, oh, it needs more water, and make things worse. What you're really seeing is root stress. When roots are drowning, they can't take up water properly, even though there's plenty of it in the soil. The plant is gasping for air, not water. So the key takeaway here is this. Tomatoes don't need constant watering. They need balanced moisture. It's not about how often you water. It's about letting the soil dry just enough between waterings so oxygen can reach the roots. That's the foundation of every healthy tomato plant. In a moment, I'll show you how to tell exactly when your tomatoes actually need water. No guesswork, no fancy equipment. Just a simple method anyone can do. But first, take a close look at your plants. If you're seeing yellowing leaves, drooping stems, or cracked fruit, chances are you're loving your tomatoes a little too much with that watering can. Now that we know overwatering is the real culprit, let's talk about why it happens. Because honestly, it's not your fault. Most gardeners overwater because they care. You see a tomato plant drooping, and your instinct says, it must be thirsty. So you grab the hose or watering can and give it a drink. But what's actually going on beneath the surface tells a completely different story. Tomatoes don't like extremes, not too dry and definitely not too wet. What they crave is consistency. When moisture levels constantly swing from soaked to dry, the plant gets stressed, just like people do under sudden changes. That stress weakens the immune system of the plant, making it more vulnerable to pests and diseases. Another reason for confusion is the soil itself. Different soils hold water in different ways. Sandy soil drains quickly, so you might need to water more often. But if you're growing in heavy clay or dense compost, water can linger around the roots for days. Without realizing it, you could be turning your garden bed into a swamp. Container gardeners face an even trickier challenge. Pots dry out faster on the surface, especially under the sun, so it's easy to assume the whole root zone is dry. But often, the bottom of the pot is still soaking wet. That's why your plant can look wilted on top even though its roots are drowning below. Temperature and weather also play a big role. During cool, cloudy weeks, tomatoes barely use any water. But in midsummer heat, they can drink a lot more. The problem is that many gardeners stick to a fixed schedule, watering every morning or every other day, without checking what the plants actually need today. And let's be honest, it's not just habit, it's misinformation. So many gardening guides and social media posts say things like, "Water your tomatoes once a day," without explaining why or how much. That kind of one-size-fits-all advice causes more harm than good because no two gardens are the same. The real skill of a successful gardener is observation, learning to read your plants and your soil. If the leaves are firm and vibrant, and the soil feels slightly damp 2 inches below the surface, your plants are perfectly happy. But if the top layer looks dry and crumbly, while the lower soil is still moist, it's not time to water yet. A simple test is to stick your finger into the soil up to your second knuckle. That's about 2 inches deep. If it feels cool and slightly damp, leave it alone. If it's dry and powdery, it's time to water. No gadgets needed, just your hand and a little patience. Of course, if you want more precision, you can use a moisture meter. It's an inexpensive tool that tells you instantly whether your soil is too wet, too dry, or just right. Many experienced growers rely on them because they take the guesswork out of watering. So the misunderstanding really comes from good intentions, mixed information, and a lack of awareness about what's happening underground. Once you understand that tomato roots need both water and air, it all starts to make sense. Healthy soil breathes. It holds moisture but still drains freely, allowing roots to expand and find nutrients naturally. That balance is the secret to strong, productive tomato plants. Coming up next, we'll break down exactly how to create that balance using a few smart watering techniques that any home gardener can master. You'll see how small adjustments, when and how you water, can completely transform your harvest. All right, now that we know what's been going wrong and why, let's talk about how to fix it. The good news is, saving your tomato harvest doesn't require expensive tools or fancy irrigation systems. You just need to adjust how and when you water. These simple techniques will help you keep your soil evenly moist, your roots healthy, and your plants thriving all season long. Step 1. Water deeply, not frequently. Shallow watering, the quick spray with a hose every day, only wets the top inch of soil. It encourages roots to stay near the surface, where the soil dries out quickly. Instead, you want to water slowly and deeply, so the moisture reaches 6 to 8 inches down into the soil. That's where most of the active roots are. You can do this by watering less often, but for a longer period of time. Use a gentle flow from your hose or a watering can and give each plant about 1 to 1.5 gallons of water at a time, depending on its size and the weather. The idea is to let the water soak in gradually, not run off. If you're growing in a raised bed or a greenhouse, consider installing a drip irrigation system. Drip lines or soaker hoses deliver water directly to the base of each plant, exactly where it's needed. No water waste, no splashing leaves, and no overwatering. It's the easiest way to maintain consistent moisture without guessing. Step 2. Water early in the morning. Morning watering gives plants time to absorb moisture before the heat of the day causes evaporation. It also helps prevent fungal diseases because any water that splashes on the leaves will have time to dry out. Watering in the evening might seem convenient, but overnight moisture on the leaves or soil surface creates perfect conditions for mold and blight. A morning routine keeps your garden healthier and your plants more resilient. Step 3. Use mulch. Mulch is your best friend when it comes to moisture control. A 2 to 3 inch layer of straw, shredded leaves, grass clippings, or compost acts like a protective blanket over your soil. It keeps the roots cool, reduces evaporation, and prevents those hard, dry crusts from forming on the surface. Mulch also has another hidden benefit. It stabilizes soil temperature. Tomatoes love warmth, but their roots can't handle sudden swings from hot to cold. With mulch, the soil stays evenly warm and moist, encouraging steady growth and fruiting. And here's a bonus tip. Avoid watering from above. When you pour water over the foliage, it can spread diseases and cause leaf burn under the sun. Always aim the water directly at the base of the plant, right over the root zone. That's where it does the most good. Combine these 3 habits, deep watering, early watering, and mulching, and you'll see a dramatic difference. Your plants will develop stronger, deeper roots. Your soil will stay balanced, and your fruit will grow larger and more flavorful. In the next section, I'll share a few pro gardener tips that take these techniques to the next level. Simple things you can start doing this week to boost your tomato harvest even more. By now, you've got the foundation for perfect watering. Deep, consistent, and smart. But if you really want to take your tomato harvest to the next level, let's talk about a few bonus tips that separate good growers from great ones. These are small adjustments that can make a huge difference in your yield, flavor, and plant health. Tip number 1. Prune the lower leaves. Most gardeners let their tomato plants grow wild and bushy, thinking more leaves mean more photosynthesis. But in reality, those crowded lower leaves are prime territory for pests and diseases. They touch the soil, collect splashes of dirty water, and block airflow. By carefully pruning the lower 8 to 12 inches of foliage, you improve air circulation and reduce the chance of fungal infections. It also helps your plant direct energy toward fruit production, rather than unnecessary leaf growth. When pruning, use clean, sharp scissors or shears, and always cut just above a leaf node. Never remove more than 1/3 of the foliage at once. Your plant still needs plenty of leaves for energy. Think of it as a controlled haircut, not a buzz cut. Tip number 2. Feed your tomatoes wisely. Even if your watering is perfect, your plants won't perform well without the right nutrients. Tomatoes are heavy feeders. They love nitrogen early in the season to build strong stems and leaves, but as soon as they start flowering, they need more phosphorus and potassium to produce fruit. A balanced fertilizer, something like 5-10-10, works beautifully. Apply it every 2 to 3 weeks, but remember, over-fertilizing can be just as harmful as overwatering. Too much nitrogen makes the plants look lush and green, but delays fruiting. Always follow the label, and when in doubt, use less, not more. Tip number 3. Add calcium. Calcium is crucial for preventing blossom end rot, that dark, sunken patch that shows up on the bottom of tomatoes. You can add calcium to the soil with crushed eggshells, garden lime, or even a bit of bone meal. Mix it into the soil at planting time, or sprinkle it around the base every few weeks. Healthy calcium levels strengthen cell walls and keep fruit firm and smooth. Tip number 4. Water at the base only. We touched on this earlier, but it's worth repeating. Always aim water directly at the soil, not on the leaves. Water droplets on foliage can spread fungal spores and magnify sunlight, causing burn spots. Base watering keeps the moisture where it matters, at the roots. Tip number 5. Monitor your moisture. If you haven't yet, invest in a simple soil moisture meter. They're cheap, reliable, and take all the guesswork out of watering. Stick it in the soil, and if it reads in the moist range, you're good. If it's dry, it's time to water. This one habit can save you hours of worry and dozens of lost plants. Finally, tip number 6. Support your plants properly. A strong trellis, cage, or stake keeps the vines upright, off the ground, and exposed to airflow and sunlight. This reduces disease risk and makes it easier for you to water and harvest. Tomatoes that grow upright ripen evenly and taste sweeter, since more sunlight reaches the fruit. Combine all of these with the watering methods we covered earlier, and you'll create the perfect growing system. Steady moisture, strong roots, clean airflow, and balanced nutrition. That's the magic formula for heavy, flavorful, healthy tomato harvests every single season. Up next, I'll wrap things up with a quick recap and a few words of motivation to keep you inspired through your growing journey. All right, let's wrap things up. You've just learned the biggest tomato growing secret that even experienced gardeners sometimes overlook. Overwatering is the #1 mistake that kills more tomato harvests than pests, poor soil, or bad weather combined. But now, you know better. You know how to keep your plants happy and thriving without drowning them in kindness. Remember these 3 golden rules. Number 1. Water deeply, not often. Give your plants time to breathe and grow strong roots. Number 2. Water early in the morning. That's when the plants can drink and dry safely before nightfall. Number 3. Always mulch. It keeps moisture consistent and protects the soil like a living shield. Add to that a few smart habits. Prune the lower leaves, feed with the right nutrients, and always water at the base, and you've got everything you need for a healthy, abundant tomato harvest. The truth is, tomatoes aren't difficult to grow. They just need balance. Once you understand how they breathe through their roots and how the soil responds to water, gardening becomes simple and even more rewarding. So go out there and check your plants today. Feel the soil, look at the leaves, and adjust your watering routine. Small changes now can completely transform your harvest in just a few weeks. And if this video helped you, don't forget to like it, subscribe to the channel, and share it with someone who loves gardening as much as you do. Together, we can help more people grow better food, live healthier, and rediscover the joy of a thriving backyard garden. Thanks for watching, and as always, happy gardening. I'll see you in the next one.